I do comedy around Ireland, and I like to speak what I believe or perceive to be true and then make it funny. But I learned a lot when I started doing gigs with children there. One day I was doing, because they tell the truth more than adults. It's like they feel it and they just burst it out. They can't help themselves. I know they don't always tell the truth. Sometimes kids might say something like, I swear it wasn't me, Mum, who put the rubber duck in the toilet and flushed it to see what would happen. Maybe it was Daddy. But they're emotionally, they tell the truth. Like if you give a kid something they don't want to eat, they might say, I'm not eating it. Eat it or you're not getting your dessert. Punishment. Eat it or you're not getting your dessert. I hate you! And at that moment, that's true. And then 15 minutes later, I'm sorry. I love you. And that's true. But adults find it difficult to express themselves like that. I did a gig and this child ran up to me in front of like 10 adults. And he said to me, you were really, really good and I love you. And before I had a chance to respond, his mother pats him on the head and goes, Asher, you know he's a compulsive liar. And we laughed, and then I couldn't believe it. It was because we're so afraid of the feeling of love. So we had to like punish it by making a joke. I couldn't believe it. But imagine we could express ourselves like that. You know, like you're in, you see an adult, you see one of your parents in McDonald's. Not that anybody here would be in McDonald's, but could you imagine if there's an adult in McDonald's? I'd like the Big Mac with no pickle, please. And the Big Mac comes out with pickle. You wouldn't see an adult picking the Big Mac up going, I hate you! Throwing chicken nuggets at the customers, running after Ronald McDonald, taking him down on the ground. This is the worst restaurant in the world! No, they just take the pickle off and say, sure, it's grand. That's that sort of apathy, adults, that's ruining this country. Like imagine your mum or dad were driving the car and they heard a siren, and they have to tell the truth, and they pull over and the policeman, the man acting as policeman wearing the uniform, says, excuse me, are you aware that you were speeding? Or are you aware that you, me and everybody else in this big, blue, beautiful ball are travelling 1,000 miles per hour? You look like a Lego man, and I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you I love you. And maybe he would do his job. Maybe he'd stand by his oath to protect the peace, and he'd say, you know what, you're right. Travel freely as per your constitutional right, and I love you too. And he'd walk off. Just maybe. But I mean, sometimes we're told that we should always do what we're told as young people. I know that's what people tell me, and I'm still young. But I don't really like doing what I'm told. And I know, like I was arrested. Do you know what being arrested means? Well, I wasn't arrested. Sorry, I was kidnapped. I was kidnapped. There was a man wearing blue. No, what happened was there was a clamp on my car. Do you guys? What's your name, my friend? Rupert. What's a clamp?
It's something, a clip.
It's like a big clip. They put a big clip on the wheel of a car. And I was in the car and I was driving it and I parked it. And I left it there and I came out and I couldn't travel anymore because the guy put a big steel thing on it and I couldn't move it. And I got very angry and I said words that I wouldn't say in front of these. I'd say them in front of you if they weren't watching, but and I couldn't move and I got very annoyed. I was like, how dare they put this on my car? And people say, well, you shouldn't have parked there. But the reality is I wasn't harming anybody. And I wanted to travel, and I couldn't travel. And if I was in a dangerous place, well, then they shouldn't put a clamp on me, force me to stay there longer than I wanted to stay in the first place. So I had a choice. Get my credit card, which I'm never going to pay back anyway, or use my friend's angle grinder. I get the angle grinder.
Yeah.
Break it. You're right. That's exactly what I did. I got this big machine and there were sparks going everywhere. I nearly had it off. It takes like 2 minutes. It's easy. I nearly had it off and I was a big grin just coming up to my smile until I heard blue flashing lights behind me. My mom always said if you start something you should finish it, so I kept going.
And then did it just break off?
No, it was just about to break off and this man dressed in blue acting as a policeman said, are you all right there? I said, yeah, I'm fine, I have this under control. He said, stop, you're destroying public property. Excuse me, sir, this is private property. It belongs to a corporation, which means it's a civil matter. Thank you very much for your help and have a nice evening. Now, you'd think that would have been the end of it. Yeah. He asked me a very private, personal question. What's your name? Oh, well, under what law do I have to tell you my name? Well, under Provision Act, blah-de-blah-de-blah, 1994. Hang on a second. Did you say act of the law? Because I went to the Gaiety School of Acting a few years back. And are you claiming that an act of the law is the law and you were to do so as a fraudulent offence? Tell me your name. I don't have to tell you my name. What's your name? I'm not telling you. What's your name? Just tell me your name. No, I don't have to tell you my name. Well, then show me ID. Okay, here you go. I need to see an ID with a photograph in it. Why do you need a photograph when you have the real thing? Tell me your name. I'm not telling you my name. What's your name? John, now tell me your name. Okay, John, you can call me Aidan. Aidan what? Janie Mackers, John. We're on first name terms at this stage. I've had enough of you. Just tell me who you are. John, I am you. We're just different reflections of each other, different realizations of one giant consciousness. So I'm in the back of the police car in handcuffs. I'd never been in handcuffs before. That's a lie. In the back of a police car, though. I'd never been in the back of a police car, and I was handcuffs. And I was fascinated. I was fascinated by these steel things. I mean, because I'm hardly like gonna, I don't know, like blow up the universe. I'm not really a threat to humanity. And I was thinking, oh my God, there's 4 cops here, using their time to take me back to the station. But then I got a bit scared. I was thinking, maybe I'm going to have to go to court. I can't go to court. What would I do? Get someone else to represent me, someone to sign an oath to the bar, BAR, British Accredited Registry. But if I do that, they're getting jurisdiction over me, this being. So I'd represent myself. And I'd walk into court. And if I walked into court, the judge would say, and I know he would because he always does it in the movies, could the defendant please rise? But I know that if I admit to being a defendant, as per the definition of Black's Law's Dictionary, I'm admitting to being guilty, but I'm not guilty. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm a good being. So I'd stay standing. And I'd wait till the judge sits down. Just before his bum touches the seat, I'd say, could the defendant please sit? It'd be too late. He'd sit down. I'd go, I rest my case. And I would stroll out and everybody else would have a dance and we'd sing and hug. And live happily ever after. But that's not what happened. We went back to the station. Went back to the station. They asked a lot of questions. And do you know what the policemen did? They stole my wallet. I made an amateur mistake. I had something with my name on it. Never put your name on anything in your wallet, young man, when you're a bit older. And he took it. He stole it. But I did inform him. You are aware there may be criminal charges for your activities. But they didn't find that amusing in the slightest. And you have to tell them the truth, because they record everything, You have to tell the truth anyway. It's a good thing to tell the truth. I like to tell the truth. I'm proud to say I'd say I always tell the truth, but I caught myself telling a little lie recently. So I nearly always tell the truth. I always tell the truth. And he asked me more now, he goes, what's your date of birth? Do I have to tell the truth? Yes. What's your date of birth? I don't remember, I was too young at the time. You could ask my mum. But that's just hearsay and unacceptable in a court of law. I suppose you think you're some sort of comedian. Yes? Where do you live? I live here. Now I live over here. You know what I mean, funny man? Where's your address? I don't have an address. That implies ownership. I don't own anything in this world. I'm just passing through like you. And in the next life, I could be the policeman. You could be the alleged criminal. And I'd let you go because I love you. Well, where are you staying tonight then? Probably in here. And I did.